Member of the House Oversight, House Small Business and House Budget Committees, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time. Wow, a lot to get to. A lot happened over the weekend, as you well know. So here you've got 50 Democrats, yes, 50 Republicans, no. Vice President Kamala Harris with the affirmative. Talk to me about this Inflation Reduction Act. $740 billion passed, $370 billion on climate initiative. And then there's a lot of money for 80,000 plus IRS agents. I'm curious to know what bothers you the most as we break this down here on the screen. What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? And what does this mean for the working class?
To be frank, I don't like anything about this bill. It's not necessary. This is all about Democrats needing something for their elections coming up in November. But let's be very clear. If you're voting in New Hampshire and Deb Haaland is your senator, she just voted to increase the size of the IRS so they can actually do more audits. The vast majority of audits done by the IRS actually happen for individuals making less than $200,000 a year. If Catherine Masto is your senator in Nevada, she just voted for massive subsidies for green energy, which is actually going to increase the cost of energy in your state. If your senator is Mark Kelly in Arizona, he just voted for massive increases in taxes on oil and natural gas in a time where we're in a recession, which is only going to make energy more expensive for you. And if your senator is Raphael Warnock in Georgia, he just voted to actually expand the cost of inflation across the board, because this is the government pushing more money into an economy that doesn't need more money. Inflation is going to rise. Taxes are going to rise. These senators are out to lunch. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to actually govern a country and manage an economy. This is all about the Democrat agenda. I don't like any of this stuff. This stuff is terrible. We don't need to do it.
Many are saying, including economists and other congressional leaders, that this beefed up IRS would actually hurt the working class, a part of that being ignored. Again, 87,000 IRS agents. Do you feel that way?
Oh, I totally do. What are these IRS agents going to do? Right now, most of the audits are focused on people that make less than $200,000 a year. Most of the audits are focused on small businesses in the United States. So you're going to add 87,000 new agents, and now they're only going to audit the rich? That's a lie. They're going to do more stuff with audits. They're going to make sure everybody's paying their little bit, no matter whether you're making $70,000 a year or you're making $300,000 a year. That's the reality when you add in this many agents. It is a travesty. We should not be doing this. The Democrats do not care about the American people. They are focused on their agenda, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Talking about the effects of this bill or getting this bill passed, and now it heads to the House. You obviously have your voice, your say on that as well. So we'll continue to monitor that. But I'm curious to know what this means in terms of the midterm. Senator Lindsey Graham was on CNN over the weekend. Senator Graham had this to say about the overall Republican Party come November. Here's that.
Here's the good news for Republicans. Based on the performance of the Biden administration, we're in the game at a level I never dreamed of. It's not so much about people liking us. People are looking for an alternative to what's going on.
A quick point there. Do you agree with the senator on that?
You know, look, I like Lindsey Graham. I just disagree with how he said that. It's not enough just to say that the Biden administration is bad, that congressional Democrats don't know what they're doing. We already know they're bad. But Republicans have to give something to offer. Here's what Republicans are looking for. We want to make sure we lower energy costs in the United States. We want to get inflation under control. We want to secure the southern border so we can stop fentanyl from killing American citizens all throughout the United States. Those are three key things that Republicans stand for that virtually every American wants to see. So in November, Republicans have to actually have a message. We have to have a commitment to America. There have to be ideas that we're going to lay out. It's not good enough just to point at the Democrats and say, oh, look at them, they're awful. America already knows that the Democrats are awful. Joe Biden's approval numbers are in the toilet. Raphael Warnock in Georgia, he has no clue what it actually means to legislate on behalf of the people of the state of Georgia. He continuously votes for terrible policy, which leaves Georgians behind. So it's not just enough that the Democrats are bad. Republicans must push forward with an agenda. That's why House Republicans are pushing forward with a commitment to America.
Final thought on President Biden here. There was a recent op-ed encouraging President Biden not to seek a re-election in 2024. Just about every Democratic senator pressed on supporting President Biden in 2024 either declines to respond or says not at this time. Does that help the Democratic Party? How does that play in the Republican Party?
No, it doesn't help him at all. I mean, look, Joe Biden's bad at his job. We all know that. But in these midterm elections, we got to stay focused. In Ohio, it's going to be Tim Walsh, whatever his name is, the Democrat, versus J.D. Vance. Ohioans. J.D. Vance would not vote for $1 trillion in spending. He would not vote for raising taxes when we are in a recession. That is insane policy. But that is what the Democrats in the Senate just did. They did it in lockstep. The vice president came down and broke the tie, and they're all shaking hands and slapping each other on the back like they did something. All they did was push their agenda. That has nothing to do with what is good for the American people.
Sure.
Joe Biden's approval numbers are reflective of the fact that his agenda has failed the country, and even Democrat voters understand that.
It's an interesting point you bring up because a lot of the cheering was about how much money went to climate initiative. This is the biggest climate initiative spending package that was ever passed here, but not celebrating the actual name, Inflation Reduction Act, which the Congressional Budget Office says is not going to actually reduce inflation to where it would be of noticeable amount. That also with the Tax Foundation and other economists as well. A lot to talk about. Congressman Byron Donalds joining us live there. Congressman, thank you for that. We appreciate it.